Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? So we're going to talk about a few things today, okay? And these few things are probably going to upset you. All right. So trigger warning. Um, the first thing is a Democratic strategist. His name is Keith Boykin, Boykin. He was on CNN last week, and he was defending something that should not be defended. Okay. But he was defending burning the American flag and calling it patriotic, which it is not. But he was countered by former Trump administration employee Trisha McLaughlin. Take a listen to what he had to say.
Make America a better
place. Can I ask you a question? Because there was American flag burnings outside the DNC. And I mean, there has been a lot of commentary.
And people have the right to burn flags.
And they absolutely do. But it's not, let's be real, it's not patriotic.
It is absolutely patriotic to burn a flag. It is absolutely patriotic.
I will never burn a flag.
Part of being an American means respecting the right of people to disagree with America.
But it also means respecting the flag.
Now, in our eyes, it's unpatriotic to do such a thing, right? But listen to this, okay? I did some digging, like I always do. On June 21st of 1989, a deeply divided United States Supreme Court, they upheld the rights of protesters to burn the American flag in a landmark First Amendment decision. In the controversial Texas versus Johnson case, the court voted 5-4 in favor of Gregory Lee Johnson, the protester who had burned the flag. Now, Johnson's action, the majority argued, were symbolic speech, political in nature, and could be expressed even at the expense of our national symbol and to affront of those who disagree with him. But by now, I know you're asking yourself, isn't it illegal or against the law to burn the American flag? Well, yes, it is. It is against the law to deface the American flag. This is what it says. Whoever knowingly casts contempt upon any flag of the United States is publicly mutilating, defacing, defiling, burning, or trampling upon it shall be fined no more than $1,000 or imprisoned for not more than 1 year or both. So why is the burning of the flag wrong? Well, desecration describes harming or disrespecting a sacred object. The term has been applied to patriotic symbols, such as the American flag, as well. After the Civil War, most states passed the flag desecration laws, and it became illegal to modify the flag or use it for commercial, decorative, or protest purposes. Okay? So it's a very gray area, if you ask me. Yes, it's against the law, but if it's done in such a way where it's protected by the First Amendment, you can't be in trouble. Make sense? Not really. I know. That's why it's a gray area. So the second thing that we're going to be talking about is Senator Cory Booker. He appeared on CNN, State of the Union, with host Jake Tapper, and he boasted that Democrats could finally kill the MAGA strain of the Republican Party by voting to elect Harris in November. Listen.
A new chapter? I mean, she's the incumbent vice president. Democrats have controlled the White House for 12 of the last 16 years. How can Democrats talk about a new chapter turning the page? You guys are the ones writing the book.
Well, you know that that's not true, Jay, because you know politics like I do. right now we see the MAGA Republicans in Congress killing all kind of pragmatic policies that we need to get done. On the most contentious issue, we had a bipartisan deal settled on by Senator Lankford, a right-wing Republican, and Chris Murphy, a blue state Democrat. And what killed that deal, what killed the pragmatic progress, wasn't the sensible Republicans, but really people that were kowtowing to Donald Trump. His influence is egregious and incredible. From his appointment of 3 people to the Supreme Court that are now rolling back the most fundamental of our rights and freedoms, like bodily autonomy and reproductive rights. So to say that the MAGA Republicans are not still undermining common sense, pragmatic, sensible politics is just wrong. And what I know this election can do is finally kill that strain of the Republican Party in a way that I think helps the pragmatic Republicans come back. I'm one big believer. We get a lot more bipartisan work done than people realize. I just can't stand this tribalism, this zero-sum game, us versus them. If there was any theme in this campaign that I loved, and it was evident by how many Republicans spoke at this convention, people who are not Democrats, who will, once we get back to sort of the McCain party or even the Bush party or the Reagan party, will probably go back to voting Republican. This is really a binary choice. Are we going to have the politics of Donald Trump, which is smear and fear, denigration and demeaning, or are we going to have a page be turned in America where we get back to coming together, meeting in the middle, showing that we can compromise and actually get big things done as a nation?
So are we the strain? Are we the virus? Or is he referring to killing the strain as in trying to take out 45 again? You be the judge, okay? So the next thing that we're going to be talking about is a town in Massachusetts has recommended a curfew to its residents in hopes of limiting exposure to a mosquito. Yeah. Oxford, which has approximately 13,300 residents or something like that, is about 50 miles away from Boston. So, however, the curfew will impact outdoor sports, after-school programs, yada, yada, yada. Take a listen.
Developing news from Oxford, officials at a Board of Health meeting have approved a recommendation to issue a 6 p.m. curfew to keep residents safe from high levels of EEE. People at that meeting not happy.
Please don't do this to our kids.
800 people signed a petition.
Do you have
Officials approving the recommendation say they aren't banning people from going outside, but instead putting safety measures in place. They suggest the 6 p.m. curfew lasts until September 30th, and starting October 1st, the curfew will shift to 5 p.m. and last until the very first frost. Oxford is one of 4 towns at critical risk for EEE right now. Douglas, Sutton, and Webster are also listed as critical in the state. People who attended the meeting believe the move will hurt after-school activities, including sports.
We have probably well over 150 people that are here to stand up for their kids, to make the parents, have their own decision, makes their decisions.
Last week, an Oxford man in his 80s tested positive for EEE, the first such case since 2020. We spoke with the Department of Public Health on what people should do if they live in an area with high risk levels of EEE.
In areas of high and critical risk, we really want people to be thoughtful about when they time their outdoor activities. Mosquito activity, feeding activity really peaks at dusk and dawn.
And you can see the latest state map to see the risk level in your community. We have it posted on the More section of Boston25news.com.
And this comes after a resident was the first human to contract the rare and untreatable illness known as the EEE domestically in 4 years. 4 years. Notice how, remember what I said a couple days ago, every 4 years, huh? Are you seeing it now? Are you catching on now? So this EEE causes fever, brain swelling, or so they say, can lead to seizures, comas. 1/3 of the people that are infected with this EEE do perish, okay? And those who recover are often left with a lifelong physical and mental disabilities. God forbid.
Oxford, Massachusetts, and 3 neighboring towns have a reason for concern as mosquitoes carrying a potentially deadly virus called Eastern Equine Encephalitis, or Triple E, infected a resident who is now fighting for his life.
We don't want to see another human case of Triple E this year.
The rare but dangerous disease can cause swelling in the brain. There's no treatment and anyone can get infected. The death rate is as high as 30%.
Even if you do survive, usually there are long-term significant health impacts, neurological impacts.
Oxford has been declared a critical risk for Triple E, prompting health department officials to recommend a 6 p.m. curfew for outdoor activities, including club sports.
These are recommendations. They're not hard and stop requirements.
We are definitely nervous about it.
Sarah Fournier is also worried her children's sport.
So that's all for this video. Okay. So if you live in Oxford, Massachusetts, get your ass in the house. If you live in New Jersey, the only strain that needs to be voted out is Cory Booker. Okay. And please leave our flag alone. Okay. I kind of like her. She's pretty. Okay. You know, and put your hand over your heart when we're, you know, I don't even have to say it. Anyway. All right. I will see you in the next one. You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping. And as always, fearless. Ciao.